a man in, I believe it was Serbia, got into a bear cage with a couple of bears after imbibing heavily at a local beer festival. I've never been to Serbia, so I really don't know the lay of the land there, but I would think you could probably find somewhere better than the bear cage to hold your beer festival, or at least not have them right next door to each other. I don't know. Do you sell handguns and hard liquor in the same place too? I mean, why not really get after it? Anyway, as you may have thought, dude gets in the bear cage, beer cage, bear cage. It all turned out the same. The beard-up guy got into the bear cage, and yeah, he's the formerly beard-up guy who got into the beer cage. Nice knowing you. Also, who doesn't like youth sports father? And I think we can all agree we especially liked it when one of the fathers would run out onto the field and cold cock one of the kids. That is awesome.
After getting into a bear cage at the Belgrade Zoo during a beer festival, zookeepers found the naked body of the man inside the cage. The zoo director said, quote, "There's a good chance he was drunk or drugged. Only an idiot would jump into the bear cage," end quote. All right, so that's the zoo director piling on. That guy's not even going to it was really unfortunate, it was really tragic. He went right to the only an idiot would jump into a bear cage card. A drunk idiot, by the way. You know what? Vuk. This guy's name is Vuk Bojevic. Vuk, I'm going to have to agree with you on that analysis. Only a drunk idiot would get into a beer cage. The question, though, is how drunk? I mean, I know the entire idea of a beer festival is to have a few, maybe even more than a few. But how many do you have to have before you think it's a good idea to get into a cage and play with some bears? I mean, what? Did you get tired of playing on the freeway? Was the lion cage locked? Could you not get in there? What, no poisonous snake cages that you could find your way into? I mean, we all do some pretty stupid things after a few pops. But I don't know of anybody, nor have I ever heard of anybody, that crushed enough beers at a beer festival to then strip down and jump into a bear cage for a few laughs. You know why? Because they're bears. You crawl into a cage with bears, they're going to eat you. They don't know that you're just some beard-up fool who got a little loose at the beer festival. You're just a walking, talking, beer-marinated steak. You're just a steak that won't sit still. You're a steak that's moving around, and they're going to get ready to get busy. I'm sorry that that's the way that guy had to go, but that is evolution right before your eyes. The stupid being weeded out of the gene pool right in front of everybody else. If you don't know to stay out of a bear cage, then you don't get to populate the rest of the world with your genes. And that's probably a good thing. It's not a beer cage, it's a bear cage. What, were there more beers in there? No, there was a hungry bear that saw you as a giant steak moving around, marinated with beer. Natural selection. Front and center. If you get into a cage with a bear, you're going to get eaten to death. And, of course, how to start a brawl in the middle of the field with half your neighborhood. And that's what happened recently in Stockton, California. I'm sure you've seen that brutal scene already. 36-year-old assistant coach by the name of Corey Patero took offense to his kid getting hit late. So he took matters into his own hands. He rushed the field, and he went Mike Curtis on 13-year-old Brian Wood. Now, not to go armchair quarterback on this Mensa. And again, he laid the kid out. And it sparked a brawl that took about 20 minutes. Parents on both sides on the field throwing. Not to go armchair quarterback on this guy, but let's just consider his options at that point. His kid got dumped late, so he could A, go to the ref and say, how about dialing that kid down? B, go to the opposing coach and say, you need to check 58. He's taking out kids half his size. C, go to the other kid's dad and say, hey, you need to get your kid under control before somebody gets hurt. Or D, rush the field, blow the kid up, spark a 20-minute brawl among parents, jump a fence, because the only thing more stand up than going Ray Lewis on a 13-year-old when you're 36 and an assistant coach is fleeing the scene and then get arrested on charges of felony child abuse and end up on this and every other show in America. Look, of course you want to protect your kid. We all do. But that doesn't mean that you can go longest yard on a 13-year-old.